Lzzy Hale from Halestorm. Thanks for chatting
Oh,
to Maniacs. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time for me, Brenton.
Oh, of course. Now, the last time I spoke to you was on your first tour to Australia in quite a while, and you're coming right back way quicker than anyone expected for Knotfest Australia. What is it about Australia that makes you continue to want to come back?
To put it simply, honestly, it's the people. Uh, there is such a love for not only rock music but just life, and everybody. Every time that we come back to Australia, we just want to get lost in the cities and meet locals and have crazy conversations and we get quite debaucherous when we're in Australia. So I think it's kind of like a play place for us. But also just with the shows, there's still such a culture for rock music and what that actually means to all of us. So we wanted to get back as quickly as possible, and obviously Knotfest opened the door. And then from there, we're like, well, let's just do a bunch of our own headlining shows and make the most of our time.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure Australian Hailstorm fans are quite receptive of this idea and would like to see it become a bit of a trend. Now,
Yes.
the Knotfest lineup is pretty stacked and is full of some pretty great bands. I'm curious, is there anyone
Oh,
on the
yeah.
lineup that you're particularly keen to get a chance to see live that you haven't in a while?
The band that I haven't seen in a while, I mean, really everybody. I want to see everyone and what they're doing now, because something, um, you know, people evolve. There's new things. There's new shows. There's uh, bands grow, and I always like to see wherever a band is at in the now. But in particular, I honestly I want to see my buddies in Disturbed. Really everybody in the lineup I've met in some capacity. So it's going to be kind of like this like weird, almost like summer camp, I think, thing backstage is going to start happening, where it's like we're all just going to start, hey, oh, remember that tour, and just swap stories and have a good time with a bunch of the. Just think about all of us like we are all in middle school, like in seventh grade, on a school trip, but there isn't anybody really in charge. That's kind of what happens when all of us get together, and especially if we haven't seen each other in a while. So really I'm kind of looking forward to all of that camaraderie and just saying hello and hugging people in person. And because we all get on our train and we get really busy, and we're all making records and we're all doing separate tours. So this is the beautiful thing about Knotfest, is that it's more than just bringing the fans the music. It's bringing all of us together too. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Hell yeah, I wish my school took us on school camps that involved going to the other side of the world
Yeah.
and hanging out with cool rock bands.
And this is why I started a band, because my school didn't do that either.
Now, you're 27 years into this journey with Hailstorm at this point. It started out as like a high school dream, effectively, and you're still running around, experiencing the thrill of
Yep.
being in the spotlight that you dreamed of now. Can you believe that you've managed to turn this teenage fantasy into your everyday reality?
It still blows my mind every day. I'm sitting around here. Actually, I'll actually show you. I'm at my little studio desk here, and I have uh, from 1997, I have the third place trophy from our very first gig as Halestorm, where we entered ourselves in a talent show when I was 13. And on the other side, I have our Grammy. So it's a nice back and forth of how long and how far we've come. And I feel like if I could go back and tell my 13-year-old self all of the things that now I can say that I've done and that I am and that I have, and this amazing fan base that still for some reason cares about the silly songs that I write, she wouldn't have believed me. I feel like that was never there's a difference between believing you're capable of great things and then those things actually happening. I mean, it's like climbing Mount Everest. It's like there's bodies along the way, like all of there's so many talented people that never even make it to their second record, let alone, being and a lot of bands don't last for that long. We've been the same four members since 2003, and the fact that we haven't killed each other yet blows my mind as well. It's one of our biggest accomplishments. No murder, within the band. So yeah, I would have never believed it at all. But I'm so grateful. And every single night that I go out on stage, and every single time that we have the opportunity to go to Australia, that you guys are the complete opposite end of the world. It's just amazing. We get to get on a plane and go, and I get to go with my best friends and play the music that I love with people that love it too. It's truly the definition of living the dream. Yeah.
That's just brilliant. And one thing that I'm sure, Teenage, you would have been thrilled with is having your own signature model guitar by Kramer.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
this is so cool. What does it feel like to be the female representative of that brand in the space, and having your own model that's so sparkly?
Oh, it's great. So that my Kramer model for my Voyager, basically the inspiration for that was, if I was who I am now, but it was 1987, what would I do with the guitar? So yeah, it's like a party threw up all over the place. It's holographic sparkle, and it's got the Floyd Rose everything, and so it's a noise machine. It's great. It's such an honor to be the first female representative for Gibson, and the ambassador for that, because a whole other world opened up when I started doing that. I've had a couple different signature models with Gibson, and then one with Kramer, and when the people at Gibson and Kramer have both informed me that since I kind of put that at the forefront, there have been more women than men over the last 3 or 4 years buying guitars from that particular company, according to the numbers. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I'm not saying that I really had anything to do with that, but I think that there is something about seeing a woman do something like that, if you are a young woman trying to do. So it's like we're all looking for someone that we can see ourselves reflected in. And so if by just me being there and holding the guitar and designing them and putting them out in the world inspires another little girl to be like, oh, wait, girls can do that too? That's awesome. Let me try. Then that's amazing. So yeah, it's been a beautiful journey with those guys.
Brilliant, and the end results look amazing. I can imagine it being quite useful as a weapon too, if ever needed.
Yes, I will say with that Voyager, so I'm quite used to the Explorer shape, which is kind of my normal MO, and but with the Voyager, it's a little longer and a lot pointier. So as my guitar player and my bass player will both tell you, they've gotten it in the ribs, the back of the knees. I've nearly, knocked a couple things off of like amplifiers because of the length of it. So I am quite spatially challenged with that guitar. I don't know my radius, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, because I'll go up behind the guys and like rock out with them, but then I'll forget that it's long and I'll make a turn and they'll be like, oh God, you got me again. So yeah, lots of bruises.
Now, looking at the broader context of Halestorm's career and your impact on the music scene, you were saying that effectively, representation matters in that discussion about the guitar, and about your presence in that space matters to young females out there. How much do you think you've impacted the rock scene by being this big, bold voice on a stage at these massive, quite male-dominated festivals? Have you noticed? Have people come up to you and said that you've influenced them to give it a crack themselves?
Oh, absolutely. Hundreds, if not more, times. And it's wonderful to be in that position because, I've been doing the thing for a while now. And so to be able to kind of pass that torch means a lot to me, because I know what it's like. I grew up on a lot of my dad's music. So my first influences were, you know, Ronnie James Dio and Alice Cooper. This was 1996, and right before we started the band, and I took an Alice Cooper CD and a Dio CD to to an 11-year-old's birthday party, or it was like a slumber party, you know. And I still remember that was like the night I remember that I discovered I was weird, because at the time it was Backstreet Boys and Mariah Carey and Boys to Men and that kind of stuff. And when I put in Alice Cooper's CD into this like little purple boombox, all of those girls looked at me like I was an alien from outer space and had no idea how to handle that. But so a lot of it was male influence. And then when we started the band, my mom ended up giving me a CD from Heart. It was a CD that Heart did in the 90s called The Road Home. It was a live CD. And I listened to it, and I had never heard Anne sing that way, because I had only heard like Barracuda and things on the radio and the hits. And I heard, and all the versions on this album were all live, and they were drawn out, and you could really hear the soulful like grittiness and like power that Anne's voice had. And I remember the light bulb turning on in my head saying, oh, girls can sing that way too. It's not just me trying to imitate the dudes. Girls actually can do that. So it gave me this whole other like concept of, it's just possible, that it was possible to do it as a woman. And because especially at the time, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I was the only girl on any of the lineups, that I was the only girl at the club, that you know, what people didn't know what to do with me, because they're, you know, rock girls in rock weren't really a thing at the time. Like, it wasn't that long ago that was such a weird hurdle to get over. Or then it became, well, now it's a novelty. So you get on a lot of things that are multiple female because the chick rock thing, that's what it is. But what I think I've learned throughout everything is that we are, you know, we are what we are, and we are rock, and we don't have to necessarily try so hard to be that. So it's been really beautiful to see other young women have that kind of light bulb moment turn on by coming to see our shows. I think that's that's another thing that I think that if I had told my 13-year-old self, you're going to be one of those one day, like, what, you know. I get, you know, like Google alerts all the time from young women in bands citing me as an influence, and it's crazy. It's just crazy to me, but I'm so happy to do it and happy to represent. And because that's what it is. This genre, I mean, I probably could have made it a lot easier on myself if I had been interested in Britney Spears, or if I had been interested in, you know, Carole King, or, you know, and not knocking either one of them, because I actually love both of those artists. But rock, for whatever reason, chose me, and it chose all of us, and it was what was my, you know, it's been my divining rod ever since. And so I don't know, I think that it's wonderful to be able to represent that as a woman and show everyone that it's really has nothing to do with what's between our legs. We all just want to get up there and make a loud noise.
That is a killer message. Now, I have to ask this question. You were talking about Ann Wilson just then. Is there any chance we see you join Disturbed for Don't Tell Me?
I can almost guarantee it, because I've been talking to Mr. Drayman as well, and he and I have been friends for years. And when I saw that we were on the same lineup, I was like, I wonder. And so he literally just started texting me yesterday. He's like, do you think? I'm like, I think I could make that work. So yeah, so there will be multiple acts from yours truly for those dates.
That's brilliant. Well, that's some really juicy news for people who are fans of both Disturbed and Halestorm. I personally will lose my mind if that happens in front of me in Melbourne, as I'm sure the rest of the crew from The Office will as well. Before you do hit Australia, I want to know, what song are you most looking forward to playing to the filthy heathens down under?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're doing both the Knotfest festivals, and then we're also doing our own headlining shows. And since we're writing a record right now, I may or may not, you know, I'm just going to put this out there, sneak a couple small things into our headlining shows, just to kind of test some new material out. So I'm looking forward to that. But as far as the songs that already are out there and exist, we are bringing back, I think for one of the festivals, we may bring back some deep cuts, like one of our songs, Killing Ourselves to Live, which is just a full-blown metal song. And as always, I am so excited to play Back from the Dead. We'll probably be playing that at one of them. We switch our sets up every night, so it's one of those things where we like to leave no stone unturned. What else? And also Uncomfortable always works, and it's always fun to hear everybody try to sing that vocal run. So I don't know, we're going to give everybody a little bit of something different. And I think that the beautiful thing about songs too is that, especially in Australia, since we keep coming back and we keep realizing how deep our Australian fans actually go, is that it's almost like the songs are no longer ours, it's theirs. So I feel like it's almost going to be a lot of like, okay, what do you think they want to hear tonight? Let's just throw that in. So there's going to be, I feel like there's going to be a couple surprises, because that's what we've kind of been doing in rehearsals, be like, let's have a couple audibles that we can kind of switch in and out. So yeah, you'll be getting a little bit of everything Halestorm on this trip.
That's brilliant. You'll also be playing some side shows with Skindred and an awesome young Australian band named Relica.
Looking forward to seeing them live and how they bring it there. And I want to see blood on the stage, guys. Let's go. We're going to have so much fun. And also obviously Skindred, we've been friends with those boys for years, and they're always it's like champagne problems. They're a beautiful challenge to play with, because they're always so good that every time we play with them, we're like, all right, we need to not, there is no calling it in, there's no playing it safe, we are going for blood. and like I said, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Relica, and because it's been a while since I've seen a new band out live as well. So yeah, that'll be my entertainment.
That's awesome. You're back from the dead, back to Australia, and ready to rock. And everyone at Maniacs looks really forward to seeing it. We'll call it a day there.
Thank you so much.
No worries.